Well, first, if you can introduce yourselves. And you don't have to look at the camera if you don't want just like a conversation.
It's with the two of you?
Yeah.
So why don't you pull the chairs and come closer?
Oh,
You see
just
you
behind
like
the
it.
or between you if you want.
Are you sure we don't have to look at the camera? That would be better, I think, actually.
No,
Yeah, look at you and look at each
Oh,
other.
yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm Marcel Doheny in the History Department, and I've taught the international one-year seniors for many years, with a small break in between. Many years, many, I can't remember how many. Yeah, I know you were doing it when I started teaching English, what was then English 400, and I'm Flavia Vidal. I teach in the English department. I was trying to remember, I think my first year was 2004, but I could be wrong about that.
Okay.
I've been doing it for a long time. I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of Kemper scholars come and go.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how fast it went. Yeah.
Why did you stop teaching this class? Just for curiosity.
Why did I stop? It was only for about 3 or 4 years. There was another teacher who was interested in doing it,
Okay.
so we just sort of rotated for a little bit.
Oh.
But the truth is that it's a very particular thing, and I happen to really enjoy it. So when it was Dr. Dalton, actually, when she stepped aside from it, I got it back, which is good. I was very happy.
Is there any particular reason for which, like, teachers like Mr. Dalton want to teach this particular class? And like, are there teachers that like instead run away from it?
Yes, both.
Well, I think, on a purely practical level, and I don't mean to speak for anybody in particular in my department, one of the logistical pieces about teaching this course is that it means a different preparation, right? So we still have to teach English 100, 200, 300, electives, etc. So teaching 498, 499 means preparing one more class on a daily basis. And I know that some of my colleagues in the department really try to keep their preparations to a minimum because it is extra time, right? The more different courses you teach, the more time you have to spend preparing your daily lessons. I actually enjoy that. I know that it is more work, but I love the difference. I love the fact that it's not, 3 or 4 sections of the same exact course every single day. And I love the flexibility that I have in teaching international students in the way that, as you know, allows me to absorb everything that's happening on campus and use it as a teaching material. So, but that's a purely logistical thing. I don't know if there are other more profound reasons why other people have just not showed an interest in my department.
That's good. That's interesting. I don't teach the History 300, so I don't teach the 11th grade US History class. So the only US History I do is actually with the international students. It suits my temperament more because we don't cover everything. I don't like doing that coverage thing, so I like that I can pick topics too. So it suits my personal sort of disposition when it comes to US History. And I don't mind preps either. I prefer to teach different things than to have too many sections of the same thing. So yeah, it's a personal preference. I like the international side of it because I'm a foreigner too, I think. I don't know if that's a coincidence, but I remember what it felt like when I came here. The strange things that struck me. I was definitely not American. So I think maybe I can get some of what people, I didn't come to Phillips Academy as a student, but just coming to a different country, I know what that feels like.
Yeah, and it's the same for me. Even trying to think about the learning process and what kinds of things, even though it was college for me and not, high school, what were the aspects of learning in the United States that were really different from the way that I had been taught at home for 18 plus years and what helped me adapt and then try to think about that as I'm incorporating that into what we do in the classroom, how I teach, even what I teach to a certain extent, because I mean, in history, I think you have, even though you can pick and choose to a certain extent, there is a curriculum that is much more set than in English. I can pretty much do whatever I want, which is so wonderful.
Yeah.
And I let that particular consideration guide my choices, what will be most helpful. At the same time, giving an overview of what we do in English 100, 200, 300. Certainly the critical paper is a big piece of it, to prepare you for your spring electives. But beyond that, I have a lot of latitude, and it feels really nice to think about the international student experience. The international student who's here for only 1 year,
Yeah.
before going back home in the case of the Kemper scholars and the other students going to college.
And I really enjoy what international students bring to the table, because you're all older, with the exception of the German Kemper scholars, are
Yeah.
typically a bit younger, but
Yeah.
you guys you bring a lot more US history to the table than you used to. I've noticed that students know a bit more about US history than they used to, even 5-10 years ago. But you bring a lot more history to the table. You've studied a lot more history typically than American kids have. I don't think American kids do a ton of history in many ways. So you bring that world perspective to the table, and I think to look at US history through that lens is fun. You guys ask great questions.
Yeah.
You know, we've got kids from the ex-Soviet Union, you know,
Yeah.
kids from Europe, kids from Thailand,
Yeah.
Japan, China. It's just, it's a much broader perspective, and I like that.
Yeah, and I think it's also a perspective that is grounded on intellectual discussions and debates. I mean, the idea of talking about issues, talking about the world, right? Talking about current political or economic or social issues as part of your normal everyday experience, right? We are in the classroom and we're talking about materials, but you bring that sort of intellectual discourse framework to your existence here, which is very different from many American students, even from Andover students to a certain extent. American students tend to come from educational experiences where they are told things that they have to learn and process, right? What Paulo Freire, the big educator, has called the banking system, right? And I think many American students, we at Andover, I think we try to disabuse them of that notion a little bit, but most of them have gone through elementary and middle schools in that kind of tradition. It's very different with the Kemper scholars in particular. I think even within that group of international one-year seniors and PGs, I think there's something about an European education that brings that kind of perspective, I think, and we notice that in the classroom.
Absolutely, yeah. But I'm trying to think, you know, what are some of the challenges teaching it? In the beginning, I find I always feel a bit apologetic because I know that smaller amounts of reading, but I know that your intellect is way beyond, not way beyond, it depends on the student, but your intellectual abilities are ahead of your reading speed in the beginning. So you have to kind of deal, you know, handle that sort of frustration, don't you? Read a little bit less, and then you guys go like this. I love to see the trajectory.
Yeah.
You guys learn so fast.
Yeah.
And you always do. I mean, we always know that's going to happen. So, if you kept your first piece of writing from the fall term,
I always say that.
you'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. I actually
Absolutely.
say that from the other end.
Super
I said,
smart kids.
look at what you wrote in the fall and then compare it to your last paper, and then, you know, bask in the glory of your
Absolutely.
achievements, right?
And you mustn't feel that, don't you?
Yeah.
It's definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
especially because of the language. Especially like at least looking at the Kemper group of this year and last year, I would say Italy and Spain, generally speaking, come here with like a level of English that is a little bit
Lower.
lower.
What are you
Interesting.
talking about?
Or no?
That's how you feel?
Yeah.
Like at
Really?
least at the beginning, yeah. I mean, like I don't know. I always thought that
I don't
like
think so.
no.
I wouldn't categorize it by country in
No,
my
no, me
experience.
neither.
Uh-huh.
Me neither. I agree.
In my experience, I wouldn't categorize it by country. Every now and then, there is a student who comes a little bit, you know, less fluent than the average of, I mean, thinking specifically about campers, right? Because it's hard when you start to look
Yeah,
at
look at other languages.
other international students. But so every now and then there are those cases, and I mean, and they also make a lot of progress pretty quickly. But I wouldn't isolate a particular
No,
country,
no.
or it really is more
It's very
a
individual.
particular student every now, and it's not even every year.
Absolutely. I'd
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
It's like yeah, like it was just something we thought like about.
Maybe
It
yes.
seemed yeah.
In your very small
Oh,
sample.
Or maybe, maybe
No,
it's
I wouldn't say
reasons.
Yeah,
No, not at all.
yeah, I don't think so.
No.
Of course, in my totally impressionistic
Oh, of course.
anecdotal memory, which I
I
don't
teach
think
humanities.
so.
I'm not a social scientist. I have no data.
Yeah, exactly.
And do you recognize some other trends in the European students that, apart from the discussion that you were?
Well, I think one of the things, and that actually is one of the reasons why I structure, especially the fall term, in the way that I do,